zoom in so close. That's great. Welcome to Kaimuki. Okay. Good evening, everyone. It's approximately 6:30. We're going to call the meeting to order. We do have some reports and agenda items on, but before we commence with that, we do want to do a friendly reminder for those people that are speaking. Please turn on your camera as well as your microphone. We would appreciate seeing as well as hearing you. Conversely, if you are not speaking or presenting, please turn off your camera and your microphone. We do want to save bandwidth for those people that are joining us online. So again, if you're actively speaking, please turn on your camera and microphone. If you are not, please turn off your camera and microphone. That being said, doing a quick check, do we have members attending now so we have quorum? Is the question of the moment. Okay, we get the thumbs up so we can proceed. City, state, and monthly reports. Honolulu Police is second, fire is first, and water is third. We do have a report from water, so stay tuned for that. That being said, fire department, are you here with us? Fire going once, going twice. If fire does come back on, we will bring them on and bring them later in the meeting. Honolulu Police Department, are you with us this evening?
Hi, good evening. Lieutenant Thompson from District 7. Stats for January, we have 19 motor vehicle thefts, 12 burglaries, 28 thefts, and 21 authorized entry into motor vehicle cases. Total calls for service for the month is 6,719. And the tip for the month is how to avoid scams. A good rule is never send money to strangers, especially unsolicited emails or phone calls where they're asking for money. And a big red flag is when they're asking to send money via a gift card or a money card over the phone. If you're not sure, hang up and call if they're representing Board of Water, hang up, call them back to verify, or call 911. And more tips can be found on HPD on HonoluluPoliceDepartment.org. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you, sir. Do we have any questions from our board members at this time? Yes, sir.
I have a comment, actually, just I guess public service announcement relating to fraud. Is I've noticed an uptick in it in my own business, and I guess in a discouraging way, they're getting rather sophisticated. I've been getting a few scam emails with sort of, hey, I'd like to get a 1099 form because I'm your consultant. So as it's approaching tax season, just be very cautious of some of these fraudulent emails because they seem to be targeting kind of fiscal year type of comments.
Thank you. Do we have any other questions from the board members at this time? Okay, do we have any questions or comments from our general public at this time? Sure. Okay. Okay, thank you, Lieutenant. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay. Reaching out to fire again. Are they present? That being said, Lorna is unavailable this evening, but she did submit a report. I'm going to verbally give it now this time. There were water main breaks on January 15th of a 8-inch water main break at 1152 Cocohead Avenue, as well as the same date, another 8-inch water main break at 1347 15th Avenue. They do have one other general water announcement there is a $100 toilet rebate for a limited time only. So the Board of Water Supply is providing its customers with a big, all capital BIG, big offer for a $100 rebate on water sense labeled toilets. Not sure what that is, but I'm sure more information will be had at the Board of Water Supply site. It is a 1.28 gallons per flush or less. So that's the qualifier, what they mean by water sense labeled toilets. This is more than double the usual rebate amount, and it's only offered for a limited 90-day period, 90-day period through April 18th. This special rebate is limited to 4 per household and 10 for commercial customers. For more information, please go to boardofwatersupply.com/rebates. That being said, we're moving on to public input at this time. Do we have anyone in the room that would like to give a public comment at this time? Please limit your comments to 3 minutes or less. Alvin, come up. If you would, please go to a microphone. We're gonna hope the microphone is hot.
Okay. Good evening, board and community. So my name is Calvin Hara and wanted to speak about a bill in Hawaii, two bills in the Hawaii State Legislature, HB 1774 and SB 2305. This is relating to missing persons with cognitive impairments such as Alzheimer's disease and other dementia or developmental disabilities who are missing. So this would create a silver alert system. And it's similar to what you are probably familiar with, the Amber or Malia alerts. Hawaii does not have a silver alert system. Most states in our country have one. And this would be, this bill calls for the silver alert system to be part of the relatively new Department of Law Enforcement. So they are on board to support creating the silver alert system. So it has passed first level of committee. It's on to the next level. So just wanted to make everyone aware that this is one of the most important bills for people with dementia who at times, because of their cognitive impairment, may be missing due to wandering or have a developmental disability. We have heard, we meaning myself as a volunteer with the Alzheimer's Association, have heard many stories of family members just being so distraught when they have a loved one missing. Fortunately, some are found. Unfortunately, some are not. So anyway, want to bring that to your attention. Moving to my next topic, which is actually later on the agenda, representing the Kaimuki Business and Professional Association, KBPA, better known as the sponsor of the Kaimuki Christmas Parade. We are doing a Kaimuki Community Park cleanup. KBPA adopted the park several years ago. So we have one scheduled for May 25th. That's a Saturday from 9 to 11. We will have signups for that event to clean up our own community park. And I would like to make my official announcement to the community for our Kaimuki Christmas Parade permit. Parade will be on the first Thursday of December, which this year will be December 5th. So one of our requirements is to notify the Kaimuki Neighborhood Board of when the parade will be. So that is all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, do we have any other public input for those in the room? Now.
So my name is Sarah Chinen, and I'm not sure if this is when I bring it up. I didn't bring my notes. But this is to address, I'm glad that bill was going through. There's another couple bills in the Senate that can be quite disastrous. Was introduced by Anne Chang. But it's allowing property owners to build 4 units on 1,000 square feet. Kind of crazy, just to address affordable housing. But I don't think that's a good solution, but it's going through and it's being passed. Like Hawaii Housing Agency says, oh, great idea. It's dangerous. We allow our neighborhoods to. But Christine Otoza,
Thank you. Any others in the room? Okay, that being said, we do have some online. Whoa.
Aloha. Sorry, I'm not there. I actually am fighting a cold right now, but I wanted to bring up a topic. It's really small, but it's something that's really effective. Last week I went through Kaimuki, my subdistrict 1, and within 3 blocks, I end up seeing more than 14 signs that need to be, let everybody know that I'm gonna do my best to kind of create a project for our Kaimuki neighborhood board where we can actually um, either 311 app it, or we can actually you know submit maintenance for us to repair our signs, such as street signs, stop signs, anything that you guys see in the neighborhood in our district or even in some other district. It's a great way to use the 311 app that's on your, that you can download on your smartphone. It is for iPhones and for Androids and whatever other phone you have. But I currently had to submit 14 sign submittals just within 3 blocks between 20th Avenue and 16th Avenue. So, that's a lot. So I just wanted everybody to know that if they see any signs that needs to be replaced, by all means, please either you can call our office at Calvin Say's office, or you can if you have the app, please submit a picture. You can take a picture and submit that it needs to be maintained. That's it. Thank you.
Hey, thank you very much. And Mark Wong will appreciate you giving a shout out to the staff 311. Okay, do we have any others online with a public input at this time? Checking the screen, looks like we're clear. That being said, moving on, we do have a section called resolutions. This is normally when we discuss resolutions that we are putting forth and to have consideration for. This time we do have one, but it's a discussion on a proposed resolution perhaps. But this is one that was passed by the Manoa Neighborhood Board. And this has to do with the building up on, or proposed building up on Old Wale Road. Close by, I'm not sure exactly the address and location, but it's very close to the on-ramp that goes onto the freeway. On-ramp from Old Wale Road onto the freeway. It's like at the top of the hill where it curves to the left and then you take a right down onto the freeway. So that's the area there. That being said, we have neighborhood board members this time with questions that, to be honest with you, we will not be able to answer because we're not the neighborhood board from Manoa that did pass this resolution, and or comments or points of discussion. Pause for people that are on our board if they have a comment they'd like to make.
I have an
Yes, sir.
observation that is action. That there's,
Yeah, fair enough.
I look at the resolution just now and there's a lot of discussion about how it would increase traffic. That particular on-ramp can get very, very busy certain times of the day. And because of what happened the previous winter where the embankment separating the on-ramp and the highway, the weeds grew so tall that basically blocked the view. I wrote to the Department of the State Highway Division and asked them to look into that. Whether I made a difference or not, I'm not sure, but last time I drove by there, all the grass was very, very cut, very, very low, and I'm very thankful. So whoever is representing the governor, I want to do a shout out for the Department of Highway and for their concern for the safety of that on-ramp. Thank you.
Thank you, Franklin. Are there any other, again, not necessarily questions, but any comments on that?
Testing, testing. Hello? Oh, there we go. Yeah, reading over the Manoa resolution, I would agree with Franklin that one of the key concerns that it brings up is the potential impact of traffic and vehicles coming out of this potential development onto the on-ramp. And so I think a potentially reasonable course of action would be to see them do a traffic study and potentially put in some mitigative measures that any egress from the property has to go down towards King Street and they can't cut across the road towards the freeway on-ramp, and that may help to mitigate any potential backups that would exacerbate the problems that we're already seeing there. So that might be a productive solution that I would suggest.
Okay, thank you, sir. Janelle, you have a comment?
Hey, this is Janelle from Councilman Say's office. Just addressing that, we did, council members, they did add those conditions. They need to do the traffic, they did a traffic study. They need to do a follow-up report. They're putting in additional delineators so that you can't cross into the on-ramp. That's all DOT recommendations, so we added it into the resolution.
Thank you, Janelle.
Which is already passed.
Say that
So I think
last sentence again.
The resolution has already passed, but all the recommendations put in by the Department of Transportation were added by Councilmember Say into the resolution. I think, I didn't read it, but I think the Manoa resolution is to the HHFDC as far as funding. So putting conditions on the funding to the HHFDC.
Right. Thank you, Janelle. And yes, again, reminder to those participating today, attending, this is a Manoa board passed resolution. Keep in mind, the area that we're talking about is out of the Kaimuki neighborhood board's, I don't want to say jurisdiction, but it's kind of out of the Kuleana, so just be aware of that. The reason we wanted to talk about, at least bring it up a little bit, is because it does impact those in our neighborhood. A lot of people down Waialae and get on the freeway. So if nothing else, for awareness purpose for our members. Okay. Last chance. Any other comments at this time? Okay. Hearing none, we will move on to the next section of community updates. First up was KBPA. We were fortunate enough that Calvin did share that with us earlier, so we did get his update. So next up, we do have our famous Eric McCutcheon from the Hawaii Bicycle League. Please give him a round of applause.
Thank you, Chair. I am Eric McCutcheon. We have been talking about micro-mobility for the past year. So it is time for our test. You didn't know that there was a test? But no worries, this is test review. All will be well. I have my cheat sheet. I will guide you. We will do this together. But first, I have an ad for HBL. Next slide. With a reminder to sign up April 28th, the metric century, about 60 miles with 600 of your best friend bikers and such. Sign up today, join the gang. All right. So here we go. What I'd like to do is just kind of review some of the micro-mobility options that we've looked at, that we've talked about. Remind us all of some of the rules and regulations. We won't get through all of them today. It's going to go on next month too. One of the terms I'm going to use is a total invention. It's an acronym, RESSL, RSILL, RESSL, registration, safety check, insurance, license for the driver, license for the vehicle. So we're going to talk, do we need a RESSL for this object? So what is this first object? I'm going to sort of make a lot of sentences and just leave it hanging. And if you want to just scream out answers for you at home too, go for it. So this is commonly known as a one wheel, more scientifically known as a monowheel, but one wheel. Some common brands are Pint. I'm going to cheat. In Motion, the Pint X, McLean one wheel, King Song, top speed out of the box. About 20 miles an hour, about 20 miles an hour. Helmet necessary? No. Wrestle? Registration, safety? No. Are you allowed to go on the sidewalk, the street, bike lanes? We don't know. It's not in the law. We don't know anything about it. Just kids are riding around. People are riding around. That's the way it is. Next. What do we got here? Skates, e-skates, roller skates, electric skates, some common brands. Anyone know? Air Tricks, E-Sand, Roll Walk, Segways, Wheel Feet. Yeah. Out of the box, top speed. About 20 miles an hour already. Okay, about 20 miles an hour out of the box. Helmet. No. Wrestle. No. What does the law say about where they can go? We don't know. Nothing. Kids are out there riding around. We're going to stop there. My 3 minutes are up. Keep that in mind. We will continue next month. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric, for part one of the quiz. Stay tuned next month for its continued adventures. That being said, moving on to KCC. Is Carol with us this evening? She is not. Okay, that being said, moving on. Okay, I'm going to pause for a moment. Camera's on. Brian? Sorry, from DLT. I'm sorry, I forget your first name, sir.
Right.
Yeah, I was right, Brian.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. You're not on the agenda this evening, but you had the look of wanting to share.
Yes. So I can share some updates. So two projects that affect the Kaimuki New Vote area. The H1 guardrail and shoulder improvement, Kapilan to Ainako Avenue, Phase 2, which is going to extend the guardrail to protect the bike path coming up from under the viaduct on Wildlife Avenue Road. That is on schedule and that is going to be advertised for bids in September 2024. The second project was the traffic signal modernization at eastbound H1 off-ramp at Cocoa Head Avenue. This was originally going to be advertised in March. However, we have found that our reassessment of environmental approvals are taking a little longer than necessary. So it's being pushed back. Our advertised date is now August 2024. And this is the one that will modernize the signal as well as change the lane assignments at the Cocoa Head approach to Harding to 3 distinct lanes of right turn, left through, and left turn. And that's all I had for updates.
Thank you, Brian. Appreciate it. Appreciate you coming on. I apologize for, I just saw the email that you were going to try to attend tonight. So I apologize for not knowing on a timely basis. Thank you. Appreciate it. That being said, moving on to our elected officials. Friendly reminder, you are limited to 3 minutes. Friendly comment after that. If you go long, you're taking away time from your other fellow elected officials. So please be mindful, stay on time, stay on tennis. Okay, first up, do we have Mark Wong with us this evening? Excellent. And he
I'm
heard
here.
earlier about the 311 app. So I'm sure he's happy and cheerful for that being shouted out. Take it away,
Yes,
sir.
I encourage you to continue using the 311 app. We're actually writing a replacement for that. Hopefully it'll be available sometime this year and it'll get the requests to the departments faster without fewer steps in between. Just want to call your attention to the mayor's newsletter, which is online at honolulu.gov. Some of the things that are mentioned this month are rescue tubes on the beaches, the new swimming pool at Kahuku. I'm not sure that that's important to this board, but the new hula show, which is being resurrected at Waikiki Shell, and a new sculpture at the Inha Park. I think that's in on King Street. Honolulu Zoo is being nominated for the best zoo in America. I think we're currently at number 4. So you can go online at honoluluzoo.org and vote if you want to support the zoo. In some follow-ups for previous meeting issues. There was a request to the Department of Emergency Management to do a presentation at the board. And DEM, the Department of Emergency Management, has already contacted Chair Kang to schedule a future presentation. There's a question about fire risk assessment from Department of Parks and Recreation. They say they need a little more time to answer this question because it got to them late. So that will be coming in a future meeting. Couple of unanswered questions about pickup of trash in near 15th Avenue. One is because of the water main break, and the other question was about the bulk pickup policy of having to schedule and whether that is effective. And I did not get any responses back from that. The final response was actually a question to a question. I thought it was fairly clear, but DTS is responding to the question about lack of lighting at the Middle Street transfer station. And their question is, where is the lighting inadequate? Is it on the street or is it on site? So I'm going to ask the person that brought that up to be very specific, and always helps if you take pictures. There was also a mention of needing to restripe, so same thing goes for that question. And that is all the responses that I have. We'll mention that the State of the City is coming up mid next month. It's going to be in the evening, so stay tuned for that. The mayor is going to be reporting on the progress of the city and future plans as well. If there are any new questions, I'll be more than happy to entertain them. I'll try to answer them. If I can, I'll take them back to the administration.
Thank you, Mark. Do we have any questions from our board members at this time? Yes, Jason.
Testing. Mark, relating to my previous question about increasing bulk pickup service, I think I have an answer to my own question in the sense that I saw an email from the mayor's office that I received from Department of Environmental Services, providing notice that they're having a difficult time obtaining new trash trucks. I guess ever since the pandemic, there's been a real supply issue of getting maintenance parts and new trucks. So I think it would make sense that they can't increase their service given the state of the fleet. So just answering my own question.
I read your question to ask whether it was more efficient to require an appointment to pick up or to go back to the old system where they drove around the neighborhoods. Did I misread that?
Nope, that is my initial question, yes.
Okay.
I'm just wondering if they could increase their service given the state of the fleet. So
Okay.
maybe we'll pick that up again as the vehicles become more available.
Thank you. Do we have any other questions from any other board member at this time? Okay, seeing and hearing none, do we have any questions from our general public at this time? The room? Any online? Nope. Mark, appreciate you. Thank you, sir.
Thank
See
you.
you next month. Okay, moving on, Council Member Tommy Water and/or his rep. Oh, yeah, that's right. You had to go back and get. Hey, Adam. Hey, remember, dude, 3 minutes. I think you're muted. Oh. Adam, we can't hear you. Are you muted, sir?
How about now?
There you go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Great. Sorry about that. Chair Waters is currently traveling on a Goodwill sister city mission with fellow council members to the Philippines. He wishes he could be here. I did email out our newsletter. It can also be found online. Let's see. Chair Waters introduced 2 new resolutions. Resolution 24-30, which requests the city departments to provide an update regarding the installation and maintenance of low flow fixtures at city parks. So you guys might have seen the showers, the new showers at Kaimana Beach Park. There's been some issues with that and other parks. So hopefully we can get some more information regarding those showers. Another one, Bill 44 23. This is about false statements to building officials. That should be on the agenda for the next week's full council agenda. Another one that I thought your board would be interested in is Bill 6 2024, which relates to permits and requires posting stop work orders at the construction site, similar to how building permits are posted. This bill would require posting stop work orders as well. Resolution 24-46 urges the Building Board of Appeals to improve its procedures for public notifications of its meetings and agendas. This kind of stemmed from our office and many members of your board and the Kaimuki community following 3615 Sarah Drive and seeking the updates from their board building of appeals when that would be held. So I believe many of you have already been informed that the Building Board of Appeals denied the appeal and upheld the revocation for the Monster Home 3615 building permit. Let's see. Lastly, oh yes, DTS. So I did include in your paper newsletters our Chair Waters our requests to DTS to present and attend next month's neighborhood board. I did get confirmation today that a division head will be attending next month's board. So if you guys have any questions about any pending projects or concerns in your Kaimuki neighborhood, DTS will be attending next month to answer your questions. And with that, I'm happy to bring back any questions to Chair Waters.
Thank you, Adam. Do we have any questions or comments from our board members at this time? I saw Louis' hand go up earlier. Okay, Kelsey, I see your hand. You're up.
Hi, everyone. Just a quick thank you to Chair Waters and his office and the entire neighborhood for all the hard work and support throughout the years regarding 3615 Sierra Drive. We finally got a big win, and it's only because of Chair Waters and everyone else's support. So thank you, everyone.
I think
so
you
much,
had a
Kelsey.
vocal, you had a background vocal that
Yeah.
stayed the same.
Yeah. Thank you. It's years in the making, so thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Kelsey. Do we have any other board members at this time with a question and or comment? Hua.
No, I'm good. I just made a thumbs up comment. That's all.
Okay, I just saw
Thank
a
you.
hand glancing, so I wasn't sure. Okay,
Okay.
that being said, do we have anyone in the room with a question and or comment at this time? Yes, ma'am. Department of Transportation Services. Right, Adam? Department of Transportation Services, right?
Pardon? What about them?
Just say yes.
Yes.
Excellent, thank you, sir. Okay, Adam, you're done. Appreciate you. Thank you for coming tonight. Okay, moving on, Council Member Calvin Say and or his representative.
Aloha, everyone. Boss is apologizing for not attending the meeting tonight, and I'm actually fighting a cold. That's why I'm here online. So sorry about that. It was a gift from my husband for our anniversary this weekend that I caught a cold. But I just want to let you know that the February monthly newsletter is in the chat. The link is in the chat for February. Announcements is that Poho Ridge, the resolution 24-9 did pass by council on January 24th, 2024. The link to vote for the zoo, for us to be the most popular zoo in the country, the link is in the chat as well. Other website links are the Alawai Watershed Control Flood Project, the Complete Streets Annual Report for 2023. And the other thing I wanted to highlight was I do have the full list of legislation website is in the chat as well. The one thing I want to highlight is resolution 24-012 urges the city's first responder agencies to develop reasonable and effective access to the dispatch radio communications. This is to allow for quick and accurate information to the public in emergency situations. And any questions for me to take back to boss?
Okay, thank you
Appreciate
very much. Do we have any questions or comments from our board members? Yes, Jason.
I don't have access to the chat, so could you provide a quick update on the Aloi watershed project?
Sure. The Alawai, the link that we have is https://www.honolulu.gov /Alawai. Right now, there's no current updates at the moment. It's just a web link that if you guys want to see any continuous updates, then you can just check that.
This is Janelle from Councilmember Say's office. The last I spoke with DDC, the public comment period ended in January, so they're all still reviewing the comments, and they said that they would let the public know when they're ready to have their next public meeting. But yeah, as Pua mentioned, there's not a solid date yet.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And as a reminder for those people that are online, if you do not verbally say, it will not perhaps go into the minutes. So if you put things in the chat that you want on the record in the minutes for the meeting, they need to be verbally stated so that they can pick that up and do it. Okay, just to make sure if you want something in there, you will have that opportunity. Okay, any other questions or comments from our board members and or people? That'd be all go. Okay, hearing and seeing none, moving on. Governor Josh Green's representative. Amanda? Oh, Amanda? Okay, moving on, Senator Stanley Chang.
Hi everyone. Sorry, my computer camera doesn't work, so it's, as you see, black, but I'll get that fixed soon. Sorry.
Tell him to buy your computer.
Okay. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. I'm gonna go over everything verbally, but just to put all the links in the chat first. First, you can find Senator's February newsletter on his website at senatorchang.com/newsletters. And then in the chat, there's also a link to sign up for his housing newsletter, which comes out every week with all news about housing in the state, in the country, and across other countries. And you can sign up with the link in the chat. As you guys all know, Senator Chang chairs the Housing Committee, and the committee is done hearing all the Senate bills, and we're awaiting House bills to cross over, and the HOU committee will start hearings back up soon. And in the meantime, you can find an ongoing list of standing committees or on the Capitol website. And then right now, we're in the thick of rainy season, and the DCCA Insurance Division would like to remind homeowners to review their flood insurance coverage. Most standard insurance coverages can be purchased separately from the National Flood Insurance Program or endorsed onto the policy to supplement a policyholder's homeowner's insurance. Consumers interested in a National Flood Insurance Program policy need to keep in mind that there is a 30-day waiting period, and to learn more, you can visit floodsmart.gov, or you can also talk with your insurance agent. And Hawaii's DCCA has published its annual premium comparison guide, which is available at cca.hawaii.gov/ins/resources, or the link is also in the chat. And then finally, we have a number of capital improvement funding, which has been secured for 4 facilities in our East Oahu region. Laiahi Hospital will receive $651,497 to upgrade their ACs and relocate their adult daycare program. The Diamond Head State Monument Park will receive $2 million for rockfall and flood mitigation. Berkheimer Emergency Operations Center will receive $5 million for various upgrades, and the Special Education Center of Hawaii will receive $100,000 to remodel their dining room area for their students. That's all my updates, and I can take back any questions to Senator.
Okay. Real quick question. What was your name again? I missed that when you were saying it earlier.
My name's Teresa.
Teresa. Okay, Teresa, thank you very much. Do we have any questions or comments from our board members at this time? Kelsey.
Hi, I believe through email, Chair sent a request for Senator Chang to answer some questions. I wonder if he got them. Sorry.
Just regarding SB 322,
Yes.
that bill.
Yes.
Yeah, I can take back your questions. Also, I believe in the audience, Representative Evslin may be here. Please correct me if I'm wrong.
No one is claiming to be that individual. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'll take back your question.
Thank you, Teresa. Kelsey, anything else? You good?
No, thank you.
Okay, thank you much. Okay, any other questions or comments from any other individual, either in the room or online? Yes, we do. Would you like to come up, please, and speak to the speakers or microphones? We can hear you, please.
Well,
If you can state your name.
my name is Christine Ottos. I'm a Kaimuki resident. And I actually am trying to introduce a resolution tonight regarding Stanley's bill that Kelsey mentioned. And we were hoping that he was gonna answer questions about it, because I think some of the constituents have questions about it as well. So I'm hoping Teresa can maybe speak to it and when we get to that portion.
Okay, I
Okay.
do apologize. It is on the agenda earlier. I pulled up the wrong one. We're looking at it. So we're going to pivot back as soon as we're done with the elected officials. We will have an opportunity to have a further discussion on this matter. So Teresa, if you could make sure you stay on, that would be most appreciated. Okay,
Yes.
Teresa, thank you very much. Okay, moving on to State Senator Leslie Hara and or his representative. Going once, twice. So moving on, State Representative Jackson Sayama, who is here tonight with us in person. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Chair, members of the board, members of the public in person and online. It's been a very busy legislative session so far, and apologies. I just came from a cleanup with 808 Cleanups in Palolo Valley, and just a little shout out to them. They do cleanups Monday afternoons and Friday afternoons at the mini park up here. So if you do have the time and inclination, I do encourage everyone to join them. For the most part, my legislative priorities, the bills that I've introduced regarding moped mandatory insurance are moving through just fine. The special fund I'm trying to create for the School of Pharmacists is going along as well. The major concern for the Consumer Protection and Commerce Committee so far has been related to hurricane insurance coverage for residential properties overall, but most importantly in condominiums. After the Maui wildfires, there is an increase in risk assessment for the entirety of the state. So I do want to caution everyone that you might be seeing an increase in your insurance premiums for property insurance, and if you live in a condo, even higher. So the state is trying to figure out financing mechanisms to kind of control that pricing. And if not, if the private insurance market does pull out of Hawaii, that you do have a last resort market that the state will provide an insurance policy for you. But again, that's a really large project that we're working on, and again, I'll keep the board updated on that. Things related to Kaimuki, the $150,000 I had secured in last year's budget, that went to a study of Queen Leokalani Elementary School and how potentially that school could be repurposed for housing, affordable housing, or teacher housing. That draft report was published in January, late January. I believe the final report will be published later this year, maybe by May. But it's been a really interesting read so far. It's almost 1,000 pages. It's the report expanded beyond Liliuokalani. It actually looks at all DOE properties in like the Diamond Head to Mo'ili area. So it's a pretty comprehensive report. I'm looking forward to it, and I think the legislature will be referencing it a lot, maybe in the coming years, when we are trying to build affordable housing and properties we already own. I do look forward to a robust debate and discussion on HB 1630. I see is on the agenda tonight. We just voted on that on the floor, and so again, it only got one hearing in the House, unfortunately. So I hope to see more community input on this, not only in the Capitol, but as well at the neighborhood board meeting. So mahalo, I'm open for any questions.
Thank you very much. Do we have any questions or comments from our board members at this time? Sir, Jason.
You brought up about insurance for condominiums, and I think you were speaking specifically to climate adaptation and those kinds of topics. I was wondering if it might also be relating to the issues we're having with fire sprinklers in some of our high-rise condominium buildings. That I believe the city council received a report back on their efforts to incentivize this, and most of them don't. I was reading that report, and it was suggesting that private insurance is not willing to insure these buildings due to fire risk. So maybe there's a way that those two topics can be joined together, that we can kill two birds with one stone, because it does seem to impact many of our residents who reside in these types of buildings.
Absolutely. It's just like you said, you can't really address the insurance issue of condominiums without addressing the governance issues. Unfortunately, we did create a task force last year to try to come up with a proposal for a condominium governance reform bill or package. They could not agree on anything, and so they are basically committing to a report by the LRB. That report will have proposals to reform condominium governance in Hawaii, but it's quite frankly a mess, and we really need to act on that pretty quickly if we want to maintain insurability issues with condominiums.
Do you have any other questions or comments from any of our board members? Okay, seeing and hearing none, do we have any questions or comments from our?
Hey, Jackson.
Oh, okay.
I want to make sure that everyone on the.
You need to hold your name.
Okay.
Okay, so,
Okay.
so I know on this bill, kind of voted yes with reservations.
Right.
So, anti. It's a bad bill, but what were your reservations?
Okay, thank you. And
Before
actually,
you answer that,
yeah.
which bill specific are we speaking to, so those in the room know what we be talking about?
My class.
HB 1630. So before, and I want to answer your question, but before I do want to make sure, Chair, because I know we have a resolution right after. Do you want me to answer the question?
Why don't we wait till we have a good conversation? That might be a
Okay.
better time.
I promise I'll answer. No worries. I don't want anyone's hand on my neck, but.
And moving on. So, any other questions and comments at this time? Okay, seeing, hearing none, thank you, sir. State Representative Bertram.
Good evening, Mr. Chair and board members, neighbors. I sent out an email listing some controversial bills moving in the House. First one was casino gambling. That has passed second reading. Casino gambling has not been allowed in Hawaii at all. This bill would allow it, in particular, aiming for the Hawaiian community to operate a casino. I voted no. I think that casino gambling, like all gambling, businesses operate because there are more losers than winners. And unfortunately, you cannot control who the losers are or how many there are. So I think it's a bad policy to have the state government endorse a program which has more losers than winners. Number two, legalize recreational marijuana. That is currently on hold. That bill has been substituted in part by a bill to decriminalize marijuana laws. We already have a decrim law that limits the decrim to 3 grams. This will increase that about 9 times to 1 ounce, about 30 grams. Another bill is the 1630 bill, which passed today on second reading and allows for 2 or more dwelling units per residential lot in urban development. It further allows for subdivision, consolidation, re-subdivision of any parcel which are at least 2,000 square feet in area, except that the county may by ordinance or rule allow residential zone parcels smaller than 2,000. So essentially, I call this a mystery bill. We don't know how many units. It's 2 or more units that can be added. And frankly, I don't trust the city government that allowed monster homes to proliferate and proliferate. Their implementation and enforcement has been slow and frankly lacking. And let's see, another bill is sports wagering has been approved on second reading. Another controversial bill, deregulating the practice of midwives and birth attendants. That bill is now effectively dead, but it would have allowed deregulation of something that once was a priority of the Women's Caucus. At any rate, we have those issues. And in addition, of course, we have the 800-pound gorilla in the room, which is called Mao. And we went from a possible outlay of less than $100 million this year to perhaps $600 million this year, with more in the future. In addition to that, we had a surprise where we have now hazard pay, back pay for state employees that might cost $400 million. That is because Governor Ige declared an emergency because of COVID, and that triggered this notion of hazard pay, COVID being the hazard.
Thank you. Do you have any questions or comments at this time from the board members? Yes, Jason.
I want to thank you for your email and highlighting these important bills. And I just would like to comment of saying that I also oppose casino gambling. I also oppose legalizing marijuana, and I also oppose sports wagering. So thank you for your votes in that direction.
Thank you. Do you have any questions or comments from our general public at this time? In person or online? Yes, ma'am.
Wanted to thank Bert for opposing the HB 1630. He gave an impassioned speech, so thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Any other questions or comments at this time? Okay. Our last but not least, elected official, Congressman Ed Case and/or his representative. Wait, once, twice? Oh, okay. Thank you very much. At this time, we're going to pivot back to an earlier agenda item. Again, I apologize, pulled up the wrong reso, so we're going to talk a little bit about that at this time. So this is discussion and proposed resolution opposing apartments in Kaimuki and SB 3202 and HB 1630. And And this time is allotted for 10 to 15 minutes. We do want to keep that in mind. What we would like to do, and we being I, there's a lot of good comments. Everyone wants to speak to this. What I would like to try to encourage people to do is if you have additional information and added comments that we can build upon, that's great. Please feel free to do. If we've heard the same thing over and over and over, you may want to say, I agree with so-and-so versus give the whole verbatim, but we do not want to limit the public's opportunity to speak at these meetings. That's the whole purpose of the Kaimuki Neighborhood Board, is to have the opportunity to interact with their elected officials. We want to hear from you, they want to hear from you. We want that back and forth, light, respectful dialogue that's constructive, and we can move forward in a productive manner. That being said, we're going to open up to the floor with someone with a smile that would like to say things, and we can do that. But before we do that, I've asked Jason to do a real quick recap so we can know what the resolution is that we're talking about that is being proposed. While he's pulling that up, well, what is, I know like first year is married to wood. What is a blue? What year is that you get that as a wedding anniversary present? I don't remember that one in my, no comment? Okay.
No, I got a code from my husband, but he normally never gets a code at all. He's
No,
usually
no, what year anniversary was it?
Oh, this is lucky 13.
Lucky there, that's appropriate for a game of golf year wedding anniversary. Okay.
Yeah.
Happy anniversary. Okay, moving on, back to Jason. He's gonna do, again, a real quick recap as far as the proposed resolution, so we have a sense of feel for that.
Truthfully, I don't feel super qualified to really speak to this. I'm more familiar with 1630 than the Senate bill, but maybe they're companion. They are companion bills. So, you know, in essence, it's increasing the density of residential lots by allowing multiple dwellings to occur and potentially reduce allowable lot sizes to try and increase the density in our residential neighborhoods. That's really high level, briefly, what is it?
Thank you very much. And if Josh Green's representative here, Amanda, she could probably give us some sense of feel for what was being that. That being said, do we have any comments from our general public at this time? We will start with those in the room. If you would please, why don't you, thank you for offering to do that. So we're
Okay,
gonna ask
okay.
everyone just to
No,
state
it's
your
okay.
name,
Okay,
like we don't know who everyone is.
Yeah, of course. Hello, my name is Jackson Sayama. Thank you for the question. I do appreciate it, and I did make some remarks on the floor today on this. I guess I first want to say, as a fourth generation local boy who was born and raised here and who decided to move back to Hawaii, who still lives with my family because I cannot afford anywhere else. And most of my cousins, I only get like 2 or 3 now over here, and all of them moved to mainland. I like to see proposals, bold and little, to move the conversation forward on building more affordable housing for local residents. I noted significant reservations because, as Rep. Kobayashi said, ultimately the entity that will be policing this policy are the counties. And we could all see around our neighborhoods that the counties haven't done a good job. And yes, the 3615 decision by the Building Board of Appeals is fantastic. And it's probably a signal that, look, things are moving in the right direction. It's a great precedent to make sure that these illegal developments don't happen. And I hope that Chrissy Junglei and other illegal monster home developers are penalized heavily for it. But the city and county, much like the state, are struggling with workforce shortages, and they don't have the capacity to enforce all the laws that they have on the books. That is why I stated my reservations on the floor today. The reason why I don't vote no on this, and very frankly, I could have very easily voted no on this. I know how divisive this issue is, especially for Palolo and Kaimuki, but I didn't, because I like to see the dialogue move forward on this measure. It could change, bills change through the session for the better and for the worse. Unfortunately, in this bill, I was very disappointed to see it get a triple single referral. So what a bill was intended to go to perhaps 3 committees with 3 separate hearings was fast-tracked through a single hearing in the House, at least. In the Senate, they have the Housing and Ways and Means next. So I like to see it now go to the Senate. I like to see the Senate version come to the House and see what we could work with. Now, after all of that, if it's still not adequate and I still don't feel comfortable that the counties can sufficiently do this in time, I will vote no. It's very simple like that. Another thing, this bill for at least the House version, the effective date was, I believe, 2026. I still had reservations about that as well, because I don't think the counties could make sufficient changes to their city ordinances as well as enforcement branch to effectively carry out this policy. If this is going to move forward, I'd like to see a longer, runway for the counties to be able to increase their enforcement branch, right? So they could actually crack down on these bad actors. But as it stands now, I acknowledge they are not ready. And so that's my reservations. That's why I am a tentative, or yes, I will be voting no again in the future if this bill remains as is. There are significant changes to the new House version that basically make sure that all city ordinances remain the same. So those are the guardrails, right? If the city wanted to keep things the same, they can. If they want to be more restrictive, they can. If they want to make it looser, of course they can as well. And so maybe an additional language I'd like to see is a owner occupancy requirement for any ADUs that's created. Again, that's very difficult to enforce. So I'll leave it at that. And again, I want to see more public discussion because in the one committee hearing that's got in the House, so much supportive testimony from organization, advocates, departments, city councils, but only very few individuals testified. And so I thought that was very suspicious for a bill like this. I would expect to see much more public testimony in opposition. And so again, I still have reservations on this. I hope that answers some questions, and I'll let someone else talk story. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Again, I'm Christine Autoza. I actually asked for the resolution to block it, but just briefly. So the Senate bill allows for up to 4 homes on a lot as small as 1,200 square feet. And it allows you to subdivide your lot to as small as 1,200 square feet. So in the case of Christie Lay Sierra Drive property, what is now allowed by the LUO is 4 homes on a lot that is just under 20,000 square feet. The Senate bill would allow for that property to be divided up into 9 lots of 2,000 square feet and have 4 homes on each lot. So it makes it worse than what is currently allowed. I can't imagine that kind of density in our neighborhoods on as many lots as we have. And that's the reason why I'm asking folks to oppose the bills. The House version allows for a little bit less, so it allows you to subdivide to 2,000 square feet and have 3 homes on each lot. So again, Christie Lay property, you could divide that up into, what is that? 9 lots and have 3 homes on each. So 27 housing units, where now the LUO only allows for 4, which is already a concern. So that means that many kitchens allowed on each property, that many more cars. In Kaimuki, Pololo, Kapahulu, we're not going to move away from using our cars. Rail isn't going to touch here. People need to shuttle Kupuna, Keiki. There's just no way that's going to happen. And the monster home phenomena has already increased property values astronomically. Allowing this kind of density, I mean, who's going to be able to afford anything after this? everyone's going to be forced into tiny homes or apartments. Families thinking they can maybe move to Kaneohe and afford something. That's not going to happen either because this bill allows this to happen in most neighborhoods island-wide. Kaneohe, Wailua, Pearl City. So no neighborhood is going to be safe. So everything becomes an investment property that no one can afford, no local family. So I humbly ask you to oppose the measures for that. These reasons. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other public comment this time? Of course, please.
Sorry. I found out that on the DPP's latest annual report, which is actually, I think they're going to release a new one, but they have 80,000 housing units that have been approved and permitted, but not yet built. So we have the supply that has been approved, but for whatever reason, it's not being built. That doesn't even include how many properties island-wide can have ADUs or Ohana units on them. That's just what's been permitted and approved. So we have the supply. We have allegedly 14,000 short-term rentals on island that are built, ready to roll. Like, why aren't we putting a moratorium on housing stock like that and converting it to long-term? I mean, the supply is there. It's just why aren't the units being built?
Thank you. Have anyone else that would like to share?
Sarah Chinen again. Okay, I'm not as up to date as Christine. But just hearing about these, I mean, I think the plan was by Mr. Chang, or maybe incorrect. It was to create affordable housing for the local people to stay here instead of move to the mainland. So by passing this, let's take Christie, the villain, as an example. Instead of 4 homes, she would have, I mean, only 32? 32 homes. What will keep that affordable? She's going to be 8 times richer. So it's kind of a rent control thing, I think. And I have an idea. I think Hawaii has if you rent for below market value, you get a break on your property tax, a really good break. That'll make incentive for homeowners to rent at affordable rates. So, okay, that's in here. Okay.
Thank you. Yes, Bert.
For explanation purposes, you were handed a one-pager that starts with HB 1630. The top 1/3 is what I wrote. The rest, the 2/3 bottom, is what Christine wrote. Essentially, it covers some, but not all of the issues involved. This bill will definitely increase density to an unknown amount because it allows 2 or more additional units. It also will allow counties through an exception to subdivide smaller than 2,000 square feet. The details are entirely missing. Further, it puts the burden on solving the problem with residential zone lots, not apartment zone lots, not mixed use commercial, not mixed use industrial, and not agricultural lands, of which we have more than urban zone lands. I know that's a controversial issue to open up agricultural lands, but we all know that we had farms from Farmers Road in Kahala all the way out to Waikai, Waipio, Punia, Waipahu, Leeward, even Mililani, Kaneohe, Kahalu. All of that was once farmland. We need farming. but we also need housing. And that's where the rub comes. We need both housing and farming. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We're coming up on 14 minutes of conversation, but again, we want you to have that opportunity to speak. Is there anyone else this time that would like to give their comments? Hey, Becky.
Hi, everybody. I've just been perusing through the testimony on this, and I didn't look at the SB, but I looked at the HB, and seems like there's a lot of support generally. Caution over the devil in the details. And my biggest question right now is, where do our city council members stand? I know Tommy Waters isn't here. And maybe Calvin Say is here with staff, but I'm just wondering if anyone knows, maybe staff, like where our council members stand on it, because it's like a county matter that's being impacted.
Adam, cool. Not to call on you, but you have a.
Yes, thank you for your question, Becky. I don't want to speak for council member directly, but he does have very, very strong concerns.
Thank you, Adam.
Hi, this is Jenna from Councilmember Say's office. He also has some concerns. There's some language that we're still researching that we're not sure on. One of the sections saying that this act would prohibit county zoning ordinances from not allowing two or more. So again, the jurisdiction or what the director of DP would be allowed to or not allowed to do, we're still looking at it, but yeah, he also has some concerns about it.
Okay. Okay, so I mean, my impression then is that there's a lot more discussion that needs to be had, especially on the details. And I'm gonna look at the proposed resolution right now, but I might want to reserve my vote on that until we have more information in terms of like how the counties feel about the issue. But that's just where I'm at.
Okay, so Becky, we're going to use that as an opportunity to pivot to have more discussion of the resolution itself. We're hoping to have that, so hopefully you aren't reserving your thoughts more then, or?
I'm thinking about it now then.
Yeah, good answer. Turn off your camera.
Oh, my camera.
So that being said, do we have board members at this time that have thoughts and or comments? We want to make sure, because this is a board resolution, that our board members do have an opportunity to speak their thoughts, share their mind, and so we can come to perhaps a sentence. Anyone? Sorry. Yes, Dave. No, those are notes that were shared by, I need to Google. The one on the Google Drive is the resolution. That was restricted to the whole. So there were two that were in there. Of course, I gave you the wrong one. That's the one we were speaking to earlier, was the Manoa Board, number 7, their resolution. This is a different subject. Yes, James.
Yeah, I just had a question. If the SB and HB, the HD1 and the SD1, are those like the most up-to-date versions of those bills, or have they changed? That it's still okay.
That's what's correct.
Awesome. Thanks.
Had a chance to look at the resolution. That's kind of what we're.
Yeah, I looked at it, but honestly, I was trying to just find more information. Yeah.
Elsie?
No, I'd be ready to vote if we're voting today on it.
What?
I would
You have to
act
take
as
off your
a,
Says had it, put your board member hat on, right?
right, I would, I'm ready to vote if need be.
I have comments.
Thank you very much. Jason, comments?
All right, so broad comments that I will try to keep very largely, I think, aligned with what Rep. Sayama was saying, that I appreciate the sentiment of this, of looking for innovative solutions to our housing crisis. And I think to Rep. Kobayashi's point about, I have grave concerns about urban sprawl and using up more of our agricultural land to perpetuate kind of the scale of single-family dwellings that largely we are building in our communities. So, I mean, to some extent, this is trying to address that issue, because looking to redevelop in our urban core has a lot of benefits to us as a society, because this is where we have already invested in our infrastructure and has greater proximity to our existing jobs, social fabric, et cetera, et cetera. So I would like to see development closer to ourselves rather than further and further afield. Now, with regard to the specific resolution, my concern is it's a little overbroad, in my opinion, where it says to not allow 4 dwelling units on any residential lot. Now, I would think I would be okay with 4 dwelling units if the residential lot is 20,000 square feet. That would make some sense to me. But if it's, you know, a 2,000 square foot lot, then yeah, maybe that is too small. So I like this sort of sentiment of the resolution, but I think it wants to be adjusted to that kind of a concern of alignment maybe with some of the LUO's existing language, that the number of dwellings is tailored to lot size.
Yes, Christine, if you would use the microphone, that'd be most appreciated for those people online that can hear you better.
It actually is specific in saying that not allowing 4 dwelling units on lots to 1,200 square feet. Or at least that was the intent.
Yeah, no, we're hearing your intent.
Yeah.
We're reading it. It says, therefore be it resolved that the Kaimuki Neighborhood Board proposes legislation or policies that would allow for the development or dwelling units on any residential lot and the subdivision of lots to 1,200 square feet. If there was a little word. that
Yeah,
you
I'm
wanna
reading
say-
that as, I'm reading that as
Right.
2 different
And
things.
I think you guys are allowed to amend this.
That's why we're
Right.
having this conversation
Okay.
now. So
Okay.
We're gonna tweak that and then I guess.
Okay.
Right, so what I'm hearing is the intent of the resolution is to align with this language of saying not to allow more than 4 dwellings on a 1,200 square foot lot. And I think that would make sense. It's just, as I'm reading the reso as currently written, it's overbroad and not making that connection. So I think it needs to be rewritten.
House bill allows for 3 homes on 2,000 square feet, and the Senate bill allows for 4 homes on 12 homes. Well, I don't know how we.
If I may, another broad comment I have about this topic is, in a sense, I'm concerned this is kind of putting the cart before the horse, in the sense that it's allowing a greater density of building without improving the infrastructure to support it. Because you suddenly have 27 homes on Christie Lay's property. Is there any sewer? Is there any water capacity to support that kind of development? Because I'll tell you, as an architect trying to pursue some of these ADU projects that the city tries to push, the first thing I run into is, oh, you can't put that there because we don't have any sewer capacity. So where's the logic of increasing the density if we aren't matching it with infrastructure improvements?
Would the existing infrastructure place limit density?
Well, an issue we've run into as a community is when we allowed the huge development in the Kaka'ako area with all these high-rise towers, they didn't have infrastructure. And so you just bought a multi-million-dollar condo and your sewer backed up because the sewer capacity wasn't there. It wasn't until after they built it that they went back in and increased the sewer and dug up Ala Moana. So it was, again, a little cart before the horse in just that neighborhood. But now you perpetuate that across the whole island, we're going to have some infrastructure issues. But I think Rep. Sayama wants to speak to that concern.
Yeah, I just want to clarify, again, I'm not like an advocate for this bill or anything, but I do want to provide the board with, accurate information. The bill does restrict the issuance of these additional ADUs based on the existing infrastructure restrictions. And again, all city ordinances pertaining to zoning still apply. So for the 3615 Sierra Drive, they cannot build 27 units if the infrastructure there doesn't support it. Now, what that infrastructure kind of support is kind of an unknown, at least from my experience with DPP, it's kind of a guessing game. I'm sure the developers have a much more calculated measure, but again, I just want to clarify that point.
Thank you. I am going to pivot back to Kelsey. We're going to get you in 2 seconds. I'm going to get the board members to focus back on the resolution. Thank you for your comments. That does clarify things. Real quick, go.
Okay, the
Yeah,
other
yeah.
thing that I have also, I'm sorry, the other thing that I've also my office has researched is that for infrastructure, you have to think about like safety. So like HPD, there has to be one police officer per every 1,000 residents. So if we're talking about having those kinds of, rezoning and having more houses per one lot, and where, we can hear each other shower right next door to each other, that's a little crowded. I mean, already the monster homes is a concern, but we have to look at the infrastructure being also safety, like HFD, HPD, like, we're an aging town. So having one police officer per 1,000 residents is a big deal when it comes to this kind of stuff that's happening. So that's just my FYI. Mahalo.
Thank you, Pua. Kelsey.
I just wanted to, if possible, we didn't get a chance to hear from Senator Chang's office regarding this. I was wondering if we could hear from them regarding it.
Yeah, I was prepared to bring back questions to Senator Chang, but I think people were just sharing their comments at the time, which I'm taking notes of. Does anyone have any specific questions?
I think Kelsey was asking if Stanley Chang had any thoughts or comments. We posed that similarly to the other, and Adam and Pua shared, but we were hoping to get something from, but that may not be the case right now. So do you have any thoughts from Stanley Chang's office as far as his thoughts on this?
Yeah, I don't want to speak for Senator Chang, sorry.
And that's fair. We had to ask the question. We knew what the answer was probably going to be. Okay. Yes, Becky, we're coming up on 26 minutes and 2, so.
Yes, real quick then. I'm inclined to suggest that we table this reso until next month, because I think Senator Chang should have the opportunity to defend it, because I think he introduced the Senate version. I would also like to hear from our council members on their thoughts. So maybe if their staffs can go back and, suggest that they give us a statement or something before we bring this up. I am generally in favor of the reso, except for the paragraph where they're listing the specifics. I just would want that paragraph tightened up to, to say NIMBY, really. I just not in Kaimuki. I think we really do need affordable housing and a lot of it, but a lot more thought needs to be gone into the zoning and location, perhaps around transit-oriented development. But I would be okay with this reso if we just say in Kaimuki and just clean up that paragraph to make clear that we don't want it in Kaimuki. But I would like to have another month for us to discuss and then see how the bills develop, because there still need to cross over and there could be lots of changes. That's all.
Okay. Yep. No, thanks, babe. We got that. It seems like most of the board members are willing to vote on it. I think there's tweaking the language to tighten it up a little bit, and that might serve us better now, giving a message now that I think most of our neighborhood members would like to be shared with our elected officials. Thinking that, I think we can tighten up the language. I'm going to look over Jason's shoulder, and so where it says we're going to amend the resolution in the second to last paragraph, this paragraph starts with now, comma, therefore, and then in all caps be it resolved. Towards the end, we're focusing on the development of 4 dwelling units on any resident lot we're trying to strike the word and, so we're making one thought. We want 4 dwellings on any residential lot or subdivision of lots. Or it should be or, not and. Because it's A and B, it's combined, it's still the same thought. I'm getting shakes of heads in the room. Virtually, is anyone opposed to that word change? So we're replacing the word and to make it 2 separate thoughts and make it or, so that those thoughts are twofold, but basically the same thought. Hearing none.
Sorry, can you say the whole sentence from
Okay,
start
well,
to finish?
saying a whole sentence? Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Kaimuki Neighborhood Board opposes legislation or policies that would allow for the development of 4 dwelling units on any residential lot or the subdivision of lots to 1,200 square feet on blah, 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 blah. And it says in Kaimuki. Thank you, Becky. Got it?
Okay, I think we could probably put in Kaimuki at the start of that sentence, just so it's not modifying the after the and on the 1,200 square feet. Just
We're
to,
taking the word and out and putting or.
or, yeah, so in Kaimuki could be modifying the or part. So if we could somehow make clear that in Kaimuki for any of these items. That requires a little bit of wordsmithing.
I think
you're trying
replacing
to-
the word and or does that. Because it's basically saying 4 units, residential lot, or subdivision of lots of 2, or any lots for residential in Kaimuki. It's specifically to Kaimuki. It's giving one thought. I think we're good to go at this moment. That's the amendment that I am suggesting at this time.
In addition to the 1,200 square feet and 2,000 square. Because the House bill refers to 2,000, okay, 2,000. Yeah, yeah. I don't know.
I mean, it seems like it should say something like opposing 4 dwelling units on lots of 2,000 square feet or less. I think that's what we're trying to say. And the subdivision of lots to that size.
In Kaimuki is sort of my
Kaimuki
point.
is always going to be in there.
Right, but when you have in Kaimuki at the last part, what's attached to that last piece, it may be read as excluding the first piece. So that's why I'm suggesting you put the in Kaimuki at the front of the sentence.
Okay, when you say it that way, that makes more sense in my mind.
That I failed to make that clear when I was.
No, I'm slow,
speaking
but
earlier.
thanks for clarifying. It's just, we want to be able to, anyone reads it, me or anyone smarter than me will read this and understand what's being conveyed. I mean, I jokingly say that, but that's the whole point of this thing. If it's not clear to me, no one else, other guys will get it, but we got to get it to the lowest denominator. The drafting was, and we're tweaking that. So Christine was kind enough to provide us base language to which we are adjusting as best we can. Okay, so I'm going to do my best. What?
This would kind of fall in line with what we did with Lucas when he presented his reso. The amendments make them, like I guess we're doing specific as possible if it's and / or and or the a changing of verbiage. That way, when it comes down to actually giving it, he sent it to me. I provided, okay, well, you provided a typo here. Can you change that? Then the final was given. So if it's leading too much, because we are just in grace of time, we are approaching a little over half an hour on the topic. If you wanted to present the necessary amendments for what we're discussing, there's any future ones that can be a further board business, which is what Becky had made it to table it in the event that we can't come to a clear consensus of it.
Mike. I think that's what the neighborhood.
Sorry, I can't hear Paul.
We try to do it today. Becky, you good with that?
I heard you say something today.
So
We're trying to get resolution today.
Oh, okay.
Resolution that we can vote on and pass today at all.
Okay. I am persuaded by our neighborhood board assistant, and I will be refraining from voting on it based on the recommendation from the neighborhood assistant. I think that these bills could change over the course of the legislative session, and by the time the March neighborhood board meeting comes around, we might be dealing with a totally different kettle of fish. So we might want to change our position on it. But I do, for those who are ready to vote for it and vote for it today, I am generally in favor of the sentiment, but I do want to fix that one paragraph to make it more NIMBY.
Right, that's what we're
specific.
trying to do right now.
Yeah.
If you can help with that language, that'd be great.
Yeah. How do I chat in here? Where's the chat?
You can also make the motion and make amendments pending changes. A lot of motions I've experienced pending NCO approval or pending something. So if it does change, if you give a position on it now, if you say pending such and such changes, it could also allow you to change your position on it if the bill does see drastic changes in the near future.
Understand all that? I think what in my is put forth a resolution that this is what is currently placed or being proposed from the Senate. If there's something different going forward, then we can put forth something different at that time. But right now, this is the animal we have. The sentiment that's from the community that's being voiced in this meeting and others is what it is. And I'm trying to voice that to our elected officials, and this is how the board does that.
To that end, may I
Please,
make a motion to amend the last paragraph
please.
to, I think, get at the clarity we're seeking?
Yes, and then to Becky's point, can we put Kaimuki at the beginning to her point, because that makes sense now that I better understand what she was saying. Putting in Kaimuki where? Sorry, Becky, we're reading.
I think it should say this. It should say, now therefore be it resolved that the Kaimuki Neighborhood Board opposes legislation or policies in Kaimuki
Bingo.
that would allow for the development of 4 dwelling units on lots of 2,000 square feet or less, or the subdivision of lots to 2,000 square feet.
Yeah, that sounds like
Bueno.
what I wanted to read.
Seeing nodding heads.
I second the motion to revise.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Opposed?
We need to put all of our cameras on in order to vote, just to let you guys know.
Yeah, we're getting to the thing. I'm just doing it real quick. Any abstaining from voting? Okay, that being said, can everyone turn on the camera so we can get the visual as well as a verbal aye? Everyone said aye, but just for official. Okay, all in favor, say aye and raise your right hand by saying aye at the same time so we get official as well as a verbal.
Hi.
Aye. Stacy? Oh, Stacy Arnold. Are you on camera?
I would like to abstain.
Okay.
Do
Thank
that.
you very much. Okay, you can lower your hands now. Four in the room, 3 online, yay. No nays, 1 abstain. Okay. Motion passes. Thank you, board members. Thank you, public comments. consideration. I feel like we actually accomplished something today. Okay, it's 8:05. Okay, boys and girls, let's finish this bad boy up and get this thing going. Moving on, we have announcements. Neighborhood roadway and traffic impacts from Hawaii Pacific Health Women's 10K and 5K Fun Run is on April 7th, 2024. And the Na Wahine Sprint Triathlon, August 4th, 2004. For more information, see, oh yeah, we're not verbalizing this right now. Google, yeah, there you go. Check your G drive, that would be Google. Okay, board business, report of the Planning and Zoning Committee. Jason.
Thank you. I would like to turn a few moments to our neighbor. I would like to pick up the microphone. Thank you, Chair. I'd like to turn a few moments to Board Member Kelsey for an update on monster homes. Kelsey.
Kelsey, you there?
Hi. Yes. No updates, just the big update of the permit revocation for 3615 was upheld, and we hope that continues to provide a chilling effect regarding monster home development in the Kaimuki area, because we don't really have any new monster home development to report. So thank you everyone for your support on that.
Wonderful. Thank you. The second item from the committee that I'd like to report back to the board is that in response to a number of concerns from community members at previous board meetings relating to stormwater runoff from adjacent properties onto the concerned citizens' property, the committee is working on drafting either a reso or potential legislation for city council that might help to address this concern. And the idea that's currently on the committee's radar to pursue is developing some form of standardized expectations or language about amounts of impervious surface or what constitutes a breach of conduct amount of the amount of water that would flow onto an adjacent property, so that at least if you're the recipient of stormwater and you need to file civil action against your property owner uphill from you, there is a standardized basis that you can both refer to, and it might help potential litigation move more smoothly, because we know the court systems can be a bit onerous. So if this is a topic of interest to members of the public listening in, please come to our future committee meetings so that we can kind of help craft some of this language to move.
Thank you very much. Moving on to the next one is the approval of the January written summary from video report. That's a different way of saying it. So these are the minutes of the last meeting. I'm used to the same January meeting. So everyone's had a chance to look at those minutes, read them word for word. Are there any updates or comments from our board members at this time? Hearing seeing none, I'm looking for a motion to approve minutes as they are. Second, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
So noted. Okay, do we have any members in attendance of other meetings as required to let us know at this time? Yes, James.
So last month I was appointed by the mayor to the neighborhood commission. So yeah, so I guess just I've attended last month's meeting. There's another meeting coming this month on Monday. One of the things that they want to do is they really want to look at the neighborhood plan. So if anyone has ever looked at the plan and been like, that's vague, or this process doesn't need to be there, yeah, you can feel free to email me any ideas you have, because we're trying to clear that up. Other than that, that's it.
Cool, I saw a hand.
I just want to congratulate him. Right on.
Thank you.
Any other members in attendance in meetings that they need to disclose at this time? Seeing and hearing none. That concludes this meeting. The next meeting will be same bad time, same bad place, next month, March 20th, Wednesday at the Kaimuki Public Neighborhood Library at this place and remotely on WebEx. That being said, mahalo.